Hi guys, in this video I'm going to show you some platoon games with my friend Rith. I'm not going to analyze the gameplay to the extent that I usually do, but I am going to focus on more basic important skills like buddy blocking or HP sharing, and most important of all, focus fire. For my first replay, we were both running a tank that I have always enjoyed, the AMX-50B. Armor-wise, the tank is known for its weak turret, only 120mm in the front, and its weak hull sides and rear that almost any tank can penetrate with high explosive. When you get to the gun though, you realize that the tank has incredible penetration coupled with a burst damage of 3 shots totaling 1200 damage in only 6 seconds. Coordinated focus fire in this tank is a nightmare for the target that is unlucky enough to get caught out of position, and even often a death sentence for them. In this replay, me and the same platoon mate are going to do extremely good focus fire and flanking in AMX-50Bs, and good players in double AMX-50Bs is something that is extremely hard to win against, basically, for the enemy team, because we have 1200 alpha each. That's 2400 alpha combined. If we pick the same target, that's basically an entire tank just gone immediately. So my idea was to go to the edge of the cap circle here and wait to see if they push up here, but we just say, alright, whatever, screw it, we're going, and we're pushing all the way around their heavies. We're just going to assume that they're going hill. And we go straight to this corner. And I say he's calling a different target. I'm telling him to shoot the 183 because if the 183 survives, he can do serious damage to us. So I get the first track. We've already done all of his HP, and I low roll by like 70 damage, and someone finishes him off. So that's just an entire tier 10 tank destroyer instantly gone. And here I'm trying to angle back to the grill, and then I almost am done my reload because this tank is very good and has high DPM even with autoloader. We both decided to drive forward, and my platoon mate's saying shoot the E50M, but I want to shoot this grill because the grill is off and isolated, and if we shoot the E50M he could HE us in the rear. So I just ignore the E50 to save my shells for this grill. Max roll on the grill with AP. Since I have time to aim, now I'm going to switch to the HE. I didn't want to hit the gun barrel when I was not aiming, and he's instantly gone. And then I repair that because they got my gunner. I take a lot of damage there, but we killed an entire tier 10 tank destroyer. Actually 2 entire tier 10 tank destroyers. For that trade, I'm willing to take, what is that, 1300 damage or something. A little bit more than that. Now, as we reload, the enemy team's just going to forget that we're here. I don't know why, because we do so much. But I get a good cheek shot on the E5 there. Track shot on the E5 there. My platoon mate's also shooting him. My platoon mate shoots him again, and I miss the shot, unfortunately. He hits his third shot, and you can see that E5 that was once full HP is now on 99 HP just because we decided to focus on him. Now, this is applicable to tanks other than autoloaders. You can do this in any type of tank. It's just extremely easy to illustrate using a tank that does 1200 damage in 6 seconds. So I'm going to finish off the WZ there so I'm not in a crossfire. I don't have to use this building as much as I did with him there. That shot unfortunately misses, which kind of sucks. That would have given us another Brothers in Arms medal and me a little bit more damage, but unfortunately, sometimes the gun does not hit. I find that this gun has very good gun handling though. If I'm moving, traversing, doing anything that you would in a medium tank while shooting, it usually hits. You don't really have to aim it like an IS-4, although you should, because it isn't a medium when it comes down to it. So I did 4,000 damage, my platoon mate did 4,300 damage, and it's not the amount of damage that we did so much as what we did it to. Like you can see this IS-7 survived and only did 18 damage. That's not because he's a bad player necessarily. That's because we just deleted tanks from their team. We got, right off the bat, we got their most dangerous, influential gun out of the fight. Then immediately after that, we got their second tank destroyer out of the fight, and that just means that their team is unsupported and our heavies can push without consequences. Because heavies trading with heavies, you can win that. Heavies trading with heavies and tank destroyers, that's not a good idea. So we take the tank destroyers out of the fight, and then our heavies rush in, and then we take another heavy out of the fight, and it's basically GG's. So that is not just applicable to autoloaders, that is applicable to all tanks, and that is how you should play with a platoon mate. It's just easy to illustrate with a tank that does that much damage that quickly. In this game, me and my platoon mate are both driving IS-4s, which is in my opinion the most reliable and versatile tier 10 tank. In this game, me and my platoon mate are on the canal map. We are both in our IS-4s. What we're going to be doing here is we're going to be pushing to the left of the cap circle, and we're going to be trying to spot crossings to A. So if any of their heavy tanks try to push towards the A area, our tank destroyers and our U-100 hopefully can get shots on them while they're in the open, and once they get there, they will be too shy to peek or too ineffective because when they peek, they will die. So I spot a T-110E5 here because I have better view range than him, and drive up to this corner. And since he does not spot me back because his view range is worse, I can continue going around this corner without worrying about someone waiting at that building up in front of me and shooting me when I drive around. So since he doesn't spot me, he's not going to be looking in this direction because nobody's going to expect a push this early from this ramp. And me and my platoon mate will focus fire him and knock him down at least 800 HP, and someone else will shoot him as well. So there's the first shot. Second shot goes into the lower plate, and an E-100 shoots him as well, or one of the 268s. I didn't catch who it was. Yes, it was a 268. So he's already on 1000 HP, and it's less than a minute into the game. So we start looking at this 268 because he's processing what is going on, the E5 I mean, and he's not going to peek for a second because he doesn't know what to do. And if he does peek, he knows we'll shoot him. So he's just going to wait for us to shoot before he peeks. So we're going to shoot the 268 because it's the next lowest HP and easiest to pen, and also has a very dangerous gun. So now that the E5 is peeking a little bit, you can see he's very shy because he doesn't want to die because we know that we will shoot. He knows that we will shoot him over any of these other tanks here. So I quickly angled that IS-4, but he decides to not shoot at me. He bounces anyway. And we have forced this 268 into a terrible position, into a crossfire, so we're going to focus fire him as well. So basically by doing that, we were making our gun an 840 alpha gun instead of a 420 alpha gun. And while this is all happening, we've killed the 268, or put him down low enough for someone else to kill him. So I feel comfortable pushing this IS-4, and we pincer maneuver him here, so he is only angling to one of us, and a 268 is covering and probably shooting him as well. This whole time, an E-100 is capping, so that's going to force at least one of their tanks to go and reset, which is good because then we can focus down that tank. It's only bad if they cap out and we don't get as much damage as we wanted. They do not cap, you can see that they're about to reset, and we focus the Sheridan, so he takes almost 1000 damage for both of our guns because we both high roll. I tell my platoon mate we can split the focus fire at this point because we've already won and I don't want to get shot in the rear. So I shoot this T-62A while my platoon mate goes for this T-95E6, and my platoon mate's going to hold him. And I'm trusting him to be able to win since he has higher HP and it's a much better face-hugging tank than a T-95E6. I put in one shot for him so he's on a one hit, and hopefully my platoon mate can finish. I'm going to go in and chase some damage on this Ho-Ri. And also, just a tip for when you're resetting cap circles, if somebody is already going to reset, and it's clear that they're not going to die, there's no reason for you to follow, because then you're just both going to die, because it's a suicide mission, basically, that needs to be done, but you don't want to lose two tanks when you can only lose one. So that was an okay game for me. I did get 4,000 damage and 3 kills. My platoon mate did 3,589, so he had an okay game as well. Some of our other teammates did not do so well, these two. So we basically, by doing a good amount of damage, we carried for them. So this is what you want to be focusing on doing when you're in a platoon, or just not in a platoon in general. You want to do enough damage so that if somebody else below you, like matching, I'll take the 268, I'll take his damage, my platoon mate will take this Leopard 1's damage. So that way it all equals out and we do more damage than the enemy team. So we get the win. I just want to include a clip from this game here. It's the same platoon mate. We're both in IS-4s on Desert Sands, and we're on the city side. Well, our team is clearly going to win this game. I'm not worried about the loss, but I do make a simple mistake here of pushing this when I should not have. My platoon mate was behind me, but he was farther behind me than I thought he was, and I was assuming this T-30 would use his HP as well, but obviously you can never rely on your teammates. But I do it anyway, and it doesn't not pay off, but it's just I could have done more damage and saved more HP. So I just want to show how this plays out and what we do to basically make me survive. It's a really important thing. So I drive too far forward, that was a mistake, and I take the hit from the VK, and he high rolls by a lot, so that was extremely unfortunate. And then here I bounce this shot, which, even worse. because now he's going to get another shot into me, basically. Which he bounces, okay. Well, I'm not sure. Yeah, I get shot again, so I think I get the kill here. I do believe I get the kill, yeah. So the reason I got the kill was because my platoon mate saw that I was struggling. That was intentional on his part. He pushed against the edge of the Kronvan, and I could pull back to shoot his hull. That's why that happened. That's why I got the kill. So because he was wiggling his turret, he knew what he was doing. And this VK is also a really good player as well. He knows how to angle his tank. A lot of VK players that you'll see will just point their gun at you, like drive outside scrape to get penned in the little part right here next to the turret, the cheeks of the turret, or where the turret is based on the hull. This guy was angling properly, he was wiggling, and he was making himself hard to pen. And then he knows what he needs to do as well. You can see him looking at me. He's probably reloaded, and he's not shooting at my platoon mate because that has no effect. You can see my platoon mate's bouncing. He knows he's not going to kill my platoon mate in one shot, so there's no point in shooting him. And you see him shoot at me and miss. I miss as well because I'm hiding behind my platoon mate. And this is good teamwork. He can't kill me, so we have an extra gun in the fight. This is how you should play with your platoon mates as well. There I get stuck a little bit, but that's a great example of sharing HP and blocking. He saved me and made me have not as bad of a game as this would have turned out to be. You can see I only did 2.5k damage. That's 1,000 above where I like to be, or 1,000 below where I like to be in the IS-4. So not a very good game damage-wise on either of our parts, but that little part right there demonstrates great team play, so I thought I'd include it. In this replay, me and one of my RBG clanmates here are in IS-4s on mine ruins, and we do quite well. There's a lot of platoon carrying and good positioning in this game. So on the start, you go above B. That's just the standard position that we like to go to. And we immediately see that both their mediums and their light tank are down towards C. And this IS-8 is here, and we just immediately say, let's just rush. We're both in IS-4s. As long as I stay here, the only thing shooting me is the IS-8. The 140 does get a shot in on me. I overextended a little bit there. But I'm willing to trade with this IS-8 because both my platoon mate and I are just going to keep shooting him, like completely hammering him with our guns, and he's just not going to live very long, even if he pens every single shot on me. And this is a good example of focus fire because his gun is going to be out of the game. Like, yes, I am down over 1,000 HP, but they just lost an entire tank because of my position. If I hadn't done that, these light tanks and that medium would not have felt comfortable pushing in, and they would not have been down a heavy tank. Of course, our standard B we lose too, but we would be down a tank for that. This is some more focus fire. We both immediately shoot the Object 140. I don't shoot the E50 or try to find another target because we're just trying to knock out guns. So we were blocking each other there. I blocked a shot for him, he blocked a shot for me, and then I finish off the bad shot. And at this point, we're debating on what we should do next, and I decide that I'm going to hold this side of the bridge and he's going to hold that side of the bridge because there's so many enemies on either side that if we turn, we're just going to get farmed from the rear. So I put the armor to work there, wiggle the IS-4 a little bit. It's not really a easy tank to penetrate, especially in the tier 9 heavy, so I don't really blame him for bouncing that. He could have tried APCR, that was a standard AP round. So I'm just going to shoot AP right through his lower plate there. He does pen that time, unfortunately that was with AP right into my lower plate. Good aim on him. And I'm using my HP here. I'm playing as a heavy tank. I'm not trying to back down and survive. I'm trying to hold these guys where they are, and I'm using my advantages, which are my HP, armor, and I'm going to go for the track shot here again, so that he is slowed down. And I'm doing this because it's a 2v3 on the other side. Actually, it's a 3v3. And if I hold these two tanks here, I've explained this in other videos. I'm wiggling, that's why my gun's going back and forth. If I hold these two tanks here, they're losing 2 guns for the price of 1 of our guns, and I'm bleeding them out extremely well. So he ends up bouncing too. I was fully expecting to die there. So I basically bled out 2 full tier 9 heavies at the expense of like almost all of my HP. But that's definitely a worth it trade because the time that it cost them to do this. Put heat right through the front of his turret. Our T-92 finishes him off for me. And then they've basically finished off all the other tanks behind me, and I reload and get the kill. and both me and my platoon mates survived on low HP, but we really carried that game. And here are the results. It was a first class brothers in arms because we both got 2 kills, kind of irrelevant, but he had a fairly decent game as well. And if we hadn't really done that, we probably would have lost this game considering we had multiple tanks below 1,000 damage. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed or at least learned something. If you have any suggestions for me or tank requests, please tell me in the comments. If you want to send me a replay to analyze or feature, you can send it to me on the Discord link in the description.